Miguel, in a sort of geopolitically fragmented world like we've seen, and we're seeing more of those Lobito Corridor giga infrastructure projects, Tazara, we've got the Atlantic Corridor as well across Guinea and Liberia, but Lobito Corridor, obviously G7 is deeply involved as well. How do these giga infrastructure projects illustrate a new investor-state dynamics, and what do these mean for Africa and for Angola as well?
Thank you. I believe that it's important to contextualize the whole Lobito corridor and indeed the critical minerals that we are talking about here in this meeting. So right now, we are at the onset of one of our greatest inventions as a species, right there next to fire and probably French toast. And at the bottom of the AI revolution, that's AI revolution, by the way, at the bottom of that AI revolution, you have energy. So this is why we are going for sources of renewable energy, which is becoming extremely important. At the second layer, you have your semiconductors, which essentially you need the critical minerals for. Yesterday, we had a very interesting Angola session where a very young entrepreneur, Wilson Ganga, talked about the ubiquitous nature of niobium, right? Which is almost everywhere in every technological device, and he likened it to salt, which is in food everywhere, right? So you have those semiconductors, which is very, very important for this whole AI revolution. And then you have three layers on top. The first one being, of course, the AI models that we are all familiar with now, ChatGPT. You have your cloud services, which is the reason why Amazon is doing so well. At the end of that pyramid, you have your models and you have your applications. So essentially what's happening now, and this is exactly what Michael was saying earlier, those three layers on top are generating trillions of dollars in value. Whereas the bottom, where you essentially have the bottleneck, that's where the moat is. This is where Africa plays a key role. So to understand the Lobito corridor, you have to understand how you're going to move this capacity, how you're going to build this infrastructure. And I believe that's the question that we need to address, the systems and the processes we put in place. But there is one other important aspect to it. When we talk about energy, and when we talk about minerals, and when we talk about Lobito corridor, I'm not necessarily talking about mineral exports, because I do believe that Africa also has a role to play. I do have dreams. I do dream of an Africa where the critical minerals help power our own technology, our own data centers. I dream of an Africa where gold helps underpin our macroeconomic resilience. And I do dream of an Africa where we celebrate our beauty and value with diamonds, not just through the sparkle of it, but the education, the healthcare that it brings. So there is a dream for Africa. But as I talk about this, and I have these dangerous thoughts, if you will, there will be some folks trying to divide us around border lines, around language lines, around cultural lines. But I do think that we need to start reframing the whole African context. Because in this age, when we control the bottom, the critical minerals, the infrastructure, the corridor, if we do not set a stage now and we don't create processes to earn a seat at the table, we risk becoming an item on the menu. Thank you.
That's, yeah. That's a very good point, and it's important to remind as well that despite the fact that we talk about those new infrastructure initiatives, at the end of the day, if you don't use those investments coming in to get out of the traditional extractive-based model, then unfortunately it's like not learning the lesson, right? So a very good reminder as well, Miguel. Thank you so much. Well, guys, I can see we have 5 minutes left, which is perfect for everyone to give us a 1 minute kind of summary of what we've taken out of the conversation. And what's your take on what we've discussed? And as a lightning round, maybe one risk you reckon that could derail the story for Africa, and one reason why you remain bullish on the investor scene.
Well, I think the great message here is capital follows structure. And we have to create a pathway that is not driven by fear and disguise it as practicality. I think there will be a lot of courage. It will take a lot of courage for us as Africans to come together to create this partnership that we want to see. And if we do get that right, I think in the next 50 years, in the next 100 years, we will change the dynamics. But it starts now. It starts with commitment. It starts with real partnerships, because that's how we make capital deployable. Thank you.